What is going on, guys? This is A King Risen. Some of you guys might know me by Yusuf, and I'm coming to you with another Bitcoin video. We are on the 12-hour time frame. I told you guys I was going to give a more detailed look with some confluences and charting out Bitcoin a little bit more in detail so you guys can see what the possibilities are, the areas I'm looking for, and what potential trades may lay ahead. Now, guys, keep in mind this is not financial advice. Do your own research, homework, etc., etc. I'm just sharing my views, my opinions on what could potentially happen. And if you guys been following me, then the things that I've been paying attention to have been materializing pretty well so far. So hopefully we can keep this trend continuing. And let's dive right into it. Let me enlarge in this. So we're on the 12-hour time frame, by the way. All right. So what I have here, and for you guys that may be advanced traders, this might be really basic. For you guys that are new, this may be really useful. So starting from the beginning, guys, we have this main downtrend plotted here in this red arrow, and this main uptrend plotted here in this blue arrow. Now, fast forward, we've bounced off Bitcoin. We bounced in Bitcoin at the $6,000 level right here. That $6,000 level also happens to be that 0.236 fib, and it also happens to be this main uptrend. So that's a pretty strong bounce. So we bounced, and since then we enter into this pretty aggressive upwards channel. And I've mentioned in my prior videos that this is exactly what I did not want to happen. What I wanted was for us to bounce, reject, and it looked like we was getting close to that with this little pin bar here. But I wanted us to reject here and then come back down to $6,000 range, forming a double bottom. Now, obviously that didn't happen, but if it would have happened, it would have given me confluence and confidence that indeed the bottom was in and that we could start looking long for for a very long time, for the foreseeable future. Nonetheless, that didn't happen and we flew right up. In my past video, I told you guys back on this green candle bar right here, God, look at my cursor. I was apprehensive about Bitcoin breaking this trend line because we really didn't have much of a pullback. And the type of interest and energy to start from here to fly all the way through here is pretty significant. So a healthy pullback in this area really was important. We didn't get it. So we broke down out of this channel. There's a small channel here. We broke down out of this channel, which gave some shorters if you want to consider this a scalp or a shorting opportunity, so be it. We're on a 12-hour time frame, so it's a little bit more than a scalp. So it gave you a shorting opportunity here. Now Bitcoin is resting at support. I have support plotted in red, and I have my bullish targets in green. So these can act as targets as well. And in orange is just kind of like resistance, a little bit of a neutral zone. So I have that in orange. So what's happening next? What's going to happen next? For me, and just like I said in the last video, it's still essentially a no trade. We had a trade here that was short when it broke out this channel. This right here I wouldn't get into because we're sitting on pretty minor support. It's not that strong. It's not very strong. And we're not on a fib level. So I really like trading from fib levels, particularly the 0.618, 0.382. So if we were to go up from here, I would just have to miss out on this. And I would wait for this main trend line right here to break. I'll wait for it to break, and then I'll wait for it to pull back. If it pulled back on top of this 0.5, that's fine. If it pulled back down to this area where it currently is now, that's fine. As long as it's outside of this red arrow downtrend. That's what I'm looking for. Ideally, and let's see if we get it. Let's see if we get a drop down on Bitcoin down to this 0.32 fib again and then push back up. That would be ideal. I would love that trade. And if we got good price action confirmation in here that we're going long, I would get in here. I wouldn't wait for that trend line break. And that's just me. And I would have a pretty tight stop loss. But that's where I would get in, no problem. Frankly, if we break below $8,700, it's the beginning of I think it could potentially set off a domino effect. Below $8,000, $6,000 is extremely reasonable. And when we get below $6,000, honestly, there's really nothing stopping 1,800 from occurring. We could potentially see a full 100% completion on Bitcoin. So, and we have some support at $3,000, but really, what's really that big of a difference between the $3,000 $1,800 range? If we get down to $3,000, I would still have to be bearish until I seen a break above $6,000 or a touch at $1,800. So I'm really hoping that we hold, if not where we are now, then at $8,700. $8,700 for me is kind of like the last stand. From there, it'll kind of force me to really look at long-term bearish. Even before we get this break, I just don't see it going below 8,700 and then coming back up $8,700. Again, not financial advice. Anything is possible, but I really want to see one of these two areas hold. So that's what I have plotted here with these little dotted lines, where we could potentially go up from here, or we can come down and go up from here. So we'll see how that goes. And if we do break, I'm looking at 13,000 as being the first target at that 0.618. And then I'm looking at 16,000 being the next target after that. But 13,000 for sure. And then we'll see some pullback. And then we'll look at the $16,000 afterwards. So just pay attention, guys. These are the areas we're looking for. Again, if you did not get in the $6,000, me personally, it's a no trade zone for me until we either break this main trend line, but preferably see a pullback and then get into the trade, or we come down to this 0.382 8,700 with amazing bullish price action and going forward. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully that is of some value and use to you guys. And I'll continue making these videos and keep you guys updated. And we'll see how this thing progresses. Peace.